We're going to talk for a minute about the YouTube age verification. There's some important information that I want you to consider. I've actually heard quite a few stories from different people, and I understand the different angles. For example, I've heard stories from people that have said, hey, I've had my account for 10 years, and all of a sudden they want age verification. And this is being done by AI, and so it's not completely, gone through, sorted through, done correctly like the AI bot that they use are still learning, obviously, right? It's machine learning. So the question becomes, people have many different things to say about it, but the most common thing that I keep hearing is, well, I don't want to give them my driver's license because they want you to submit one of the forms as driver's license to verify your age. And people are like, well, I shouldn't have to give them, my information. I don't want to give them my driver's license. And I agree with you. Privacy is a right. That is for sure. Privacy is important. And they don't always respect people's privacy. But I have some news for you that I want you to consider. I don't know how much any of you know about what is really collected, but believe it or not, people that go through regular day-to-day use of the computer, if you're using, for example, Gmail, which is, I forget how much percentage, but the vast majority of the people use Gmail, and you do normal browsing stuff, even if you delete your cookies on a daily basis or whatnot, this is what's happening. There's enough information collected, and without going into all the technical details, I can tell you for a fact that they not only know who you are based on your machine unique ID and everything else, and I'll tell you a story here in a minute to back this up, based on the unique ID by your equipment and everything you're using that's tied to you, they know for a fact that you get up at a certain time, what your activities are, where you're going, what you're doing, even if you have location off. They know who you're around, who you talk to, who you message. They have all this information. They already know who you are. And so your question might be, well, why, if they knew who I am, do they need my driver's license? And that's a really good question, and we can go into arguments for that. But when you're saying don't submit my driver's license, this is the deal. Yes, you have a right to privacy, and maybe you should not submit your driver's license, but the thing to consider is they already have all that information. They know who you are, they have your address, they have your driver's license number more than likely, and they already know how old you are. So that should kind of defeat the purpose. But if they really want to dig, they already have that information. You give that information up whether you realize it or not. And I'm going to give you another example of why. I told you I'd give you an example. There's a person I know that had a family member that had a funeral. Okay, he got a Gmail, he was in Gmail, he got an email from somebody in his family talking about his uncle's funeral. Okay, so uncle died. Then he talks about having to go to the funeral. And then immediately after, within a day, he starts booking airline tickets. Well, this is some looking into this actually happened, and we're able to prove in this particular case, again, I won't get into all the specifics, that the airline was probably charging $100, $120 more than it normally would have, because they're able, when it goes and searches for these rates, before he even entered his name and his information, before he even said who he was, the airline on that website already knew who he was and already knew that through a series of data that's exchanged, especially with Gmail, that he had an uncle die, and they're probably giving him higher rates based on that. And that's gonna blow your mind. This isn't conspiracy, this is actually happening. So when you're thinking about, well, I don't want to share that information, what you need to know is they have more information than you think they do. There are solutions to this, okay? I can give you a list of anonymous email providers. I can tell you that you shouldn't use any Google products. I can also tell you about certain browsers that you shouldn't use. I can go into DNS traffic and everything else and all the technical stuff and tell you ways to privacy protect yourself so they don't collect this information. But for now, just know that if you're a regular user of services, that you have a Google account and they're asking for age verification, you submitting your driver's license does nothing but appease the bot. They already have that information. If they really want to know your address and information, who you are, how old you are, what your address is, they already have that. So just something to consider. Like this information that's out there, when they ask for YouTube age verification and people are like, I'm not giving it to them, you don't have to, they already have it. That's all I have. I hope you learned something, and have a good rest of your day.